Hello and welcome to the video. In this video I'm going to show you 5 different teams who all have stadiums which are surprisingly big. I guarantee you these stadiums are probably bigger than you thought they were for where they're at. And there's only one who has a big team in the top 5 league in Europe. So let's get into it right now. But before I start, if you find this video informative or useful or just interesting, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. It helps the video get about. It helps more people sort of maybe see these teams about, and maybe somebody gets interested and picks a big team. Well, not a big team, but one of these teams because of the size of the stadium. The first team up today is Bori in Italy. They're a team in Liga Pro Girone C. Just before going into more detail on these teams, and Bori in particular, I am currently streaming, link in the description, and I'm doing a stream with Bori. That's how I become aware of them. And it's going fairly well. We're sort of knocking through. At the time of recording, we've already got promoted into Serie B. So we should see how we get on from there. And back to the video here now, but Bori are a Serie C team. They're in Liga Pro C. To be honest, in my stream I got promoted here first season, so it is doable. But you'll see here, board expectations are promotion by winning the league, which is doable. Reach the third round of the cup, which, to be honest, I don't really care about that much. I, for proportion, got to the first round proper, but it's doable. They're not going to push in this one too much, although it says it is required. And from there, you have to build on and build into a Serie B team, which isn't too bad. But if we look at Bori themselves, they're a team in Italy. Bounced about. We're in Serie A for a bit. They got relegated to Serie B and then relegated to Serie D because of financial issues. But the stadium we look here, it's San Nicola, and it is a 58,270 seater stadium. This is actually the third biggest stadium in Italy, and it's in Serie C. This is a bigger stadium than Juventus have. It's a bigger stadium than Atalanta have. The only teams who play in a bigger stadium is Roma and Lazio, who share the Olimpico in Rome, and AC Milan and Inter Milan, who share what is the San Siro, or the Giuseppe Messina, I think it is, they're called. But them's the only two stadiums that are actually bigger. The reason this exists is, well, clues there, 1980, it was built for the 1980 World Cup, when Bori were a consistent Serie A team. And at the time, they were for most of the 90s, and it's sort of in southern Italy, that's why they got it. And it's 365k a year, which, going off my stream, isn't actually too bad. Twice, you start finance, you start with a £1.5 million, so you're alright that way. And it's there, it's useful, and you'll not fill it for a while, but you will probably never have to move out of the stadium. So we'll head on here now to the next one. We're now in Spain with Real Betis. Now you're sitting, well, why are you showing me the Liga team? Like, it's probably going to be okay. Like, this is my own belief. Real Betis, I thought maybe a 30,000 seater stadium. You know, they're not one of the historic big teams in Spain. They're not a Valencia, Real Sociedad, Athletic Club Bilbao. You know, they're not one of the big three either. So, if I was to show you the stadium, which has 60,000 seats in it, probably be surprised. In fact, this is the biggest stadium outside of the top 3. So, again, you have it there, you have it built, and unlike the first one with Bori, Real Betis actually own the stadium. So, you don't even have to pay rent on it. It's 60,000. It's there to be used. It's in very good condition, and it has underside heating, so shouldn't be snow delays or anything. But, I mean, you look at Real Betis, again, look at them. If we get the honours, they've only ever won one La Liga in 1935, but they have consistently been a La Liga team most of their tenure. So, as I say, I expected 30 or maybe at push 40,000, but not that. Like 60,000 is a bit much for them. And if you decide to take over Real Betis, it's qualify for the Europa League, which I don't think they have at the minute. No. They were in the Europa League fairly recently. If we go back to the screen here, 2017, 2018, you did come sixth. So it is doable. Or you could go through the Copa del Rey route, which is probably slightly harder. But you've told to play attacking football, qualify for the Europa League, and reach the semi-final of Copa del Rey, although that's desired and not required, so it's not too bad. But you are under a wage budget, but if we shift that over, you can get 10 grand very easily and keep 1.8 million, or if you put the whole lot in, you have 46 grand, but you're working on free budgets there. But you actually have an okay team. You have a team there to build around. You look to have a midfield to build around, definitely at least anyway. But again, a team I did not expect to have that big of a stadium. So they're a solid foundation, and if you want to take a team from just sort of outside the European spots and build the dynasty in Spain, possibly the best choice of the whole lot actually. Although finances, again, 25 million. And what is prize money on La Liga at the time, Fian? First season? Doesn't say. You know, you'll not be stuck for money, like, so you're fine, everything's sat there, everything's ready there for you to just take off, and away you go. So that's Real Betis, a 60,000 seater stadium, and maybe you didn't expect it there if you were going to see it in Spain. We've come around Europe for now a wee bit of a jaunt, just to Germany, to Dusseldorf, and we're looking at Fortuna Dusseldorf here. A team who aren't historically overly big. In fact, they've only ever won one Bundesliga in 1933, although they were runners-up in the Cup Winners' Cup in 1979, so should be alright. They haven't won anything major since 1980, but you have a solid enough foundation here to go off of. It's a long time from they were in the Bundesliga. Actually, they've just been relegated out of the Bundesliga, so not too bad. In terms of expectations, reach the playoff, reach the third round of the DFB Pokal, which isn't too bad, which is last 16. It's doable. Again, desired but not required. So you can maybe, if you get promoted, you can maybe get away with it. And at the end of the second season, you're expected to gain automatic promotion to the Bundesliga if you don't do it in the first one. But since this is about stadiums, I may as well show you it. You have facilities of 54,600 seat attendance. Sorry, only 44,000 seats, but still, there's actually quite a few teams in Germany. If you look at it, I think they're second or third in terms of size. They're second. You have Hamburg, Nuremberg, Hanover, and Dusseldorf. The reason I picked Dusseldorf is that they're probably traditionally the smallest out of them four teams. Although Hanover maybe aren't as big, although they were traditionally a Bundesliga team. So there is that. And also, looking at the squad, you've quite a few players in on loan who might be alright. Kevin Donzo was on loan to Southampton last year, didn't do a big lot, but I actually used him last year in Football Manager, and he done well as a squad player in the Premier League. So, second division in Germany, might be starting, and he'd be very good for you. But there is a solid enough base here. Your majority of key players are loaned in, so maybe need a look at that. Although you do have 10 grand in the transfer budget, but unfortunately, it don't actually have any. You have 10 grand in the wage budget, sorry, but nothing in the transfer budget. So you'll have to flick through the free market here just to see how we get on. But you have a lot here in bases, finances, 26 million. Normally in Germany, if you don't make a bollocks of things, you'll financially be fine. You don't really have to worry about it that much. You just sort of potter on and you'll be around. Normally they're sort of fairly conservative when it comes to estimating money. But you'll be alright. Don't go mad with the budgets. And you have sort of solid expectations here. You're not expected to get promoted straight away, which might work in your favour to let you see who is useful in this team, who isn't. Although you've David Kowaki here, who looks to be, I won't say it looks fairly good, but he's only have four goals for them, so you might be able to get a tune out of him, or you might be able to get 2.5 million for him. So you have the options for him. Andre Hoffman is a fairly solid centre back there. Ian, Marcel Sobotka, centre midfielder there, not a fine option. You have a decent basis here to build from. So let's get on with this here. Let's go to the fourth team. With the fourth team, we've hopped over the border to Śląsk Wrocław in Poland. They are an Ekstraklasa team. Now, you're already in the top division, so you have a bit of an advantage here to the last few. And you're predicted to come 10th, so not too bad. If we see what the board want, get a look at it. Good table, so you're alright and reach the quarterfinal of the cup. They want a bit of progress, but not really massively pushed. Again, that cup is desired and not required, so there might be a bit of flexibility in it. You sort of see how things go on. My most recent sort of save was on season 1 in Poland, so you know what it's like. It's doable. You can horse on rightly, so you can compared to the other teams, and you should be alright. You have players like Wojciech Gola, who looks to be right. He won't probably be a libero. I wouldn't advise that, but as a centre back, looks to be very good. There you are, solid enough, 6'1", so he's big enough as well, and just reliable. So you should be alright. Defensively, you look fine. Solid base to build off. Finance is 2.4 million, so again, you're fine. You only have a 55 grand wage budget, so you'll not blow a load of money. You've only 2 grand in the wages land, but if you take the whole lot to one side, you can get now 6 grand, although that leaves you no transfer budget. Or if you want to go fully transfer budget, you have 263 grand with 1.1, which probably isn't advised. My advice here would be stick it somewhere in the middle, about there. You get about 4 grand and 100k, so wouldn't be a bad out pick here. But Poland is an enjoyable league to manage in. I enjoyed it doing the one season in Poland. Although as picking the team predicted to come bottom, this lot's predicted to come 10th. And as we know, this video is about stadiums, and as you see here, we have a 43,302 seat stadium built for Euro 2012. And I think this might actually be the biggest stadium in Poland. In terms of the league, it is. So you have that as your advantage. If you do get this team going, you do already have the biggest stadium. And it should be fairly easy enough to build off of. And you should be able to push on. The Ekstraklasa is a fun league to play in, but it is fairly handy to get the whole lot going. So if you've been watching the videos, I took over Stalomedic, who are predicted to come last, and I ended up doing very well with them. So if you take over Śląsk, you might get something even better out of it, and you can go on very well and hopefully do well. And who knows, European success to Poland might not be entirely out of their reach. For the final team, I've come to Russia and to Rotor Volgograd, who have a stadium of 45,568. Built for the 2018 World Cup. It's very nice, very adequate, and it's probably in excess of what you need, to be honest. You're paying $500,000 rent a year, but we'll see how we get on. As we see down here on the right hand side, Volgograd were a Premier League team once upon a time. Fell away off something shocking, bounced about the second division for a bit, then eventually found their way up, got promoted last year, and you're expected to come second last. So there's an issue here. You've played in Russia, which I did last year myself. Enjoyed it, but it can be difficult to get going in. Although you do have the added benefit of Tambov are absolutely shit in this year's game. They were dissolved in real life, so there's only really one automatic relegation spot, unless you really do make a bollocks of this. But the board expect you to fight bravely against relegation, so if you start here, you can get relegated and carry on. Again, in the cup, it's only be competitive. And again, desired not required, so we're not too bad. But it's decent enough base if you get that stadium going. They've only got 1.8 million, but if you get it going, you should be alright. Staying up in Russia, generally speaking, if you survive the first season, you'll be fine. So you will. If you can navigate this here. You have Kimki there as well, who aren't overly sort of enamored odds-wise. So it's basically Tambov and one of Rotor, Kimki, or Ufa. It is doable, should be fine. And you're alright. Russia's a good league to manage in. You're restricted by the amount of players you can sign. You have to sign Russians, but all in that, you should be fine. It's a good nation to do building a homegrown team from because of that restriction. But there is ways and means you can get around it. You will eventually figure out if you do manage in Russia. But Dmitry Shumko here. Your Kazakhstan national looks to be a player you'll be building around sort of, I was going to say long term, but he's 30. So he'll be maybe a couple of years. Fresh in, signed for nothing, he's doing alright. Let's see, young prospect or two, you don't really have much. It's Russia, you probably don't. So you have basic training and below average youth and basic youth recruitment, so you need to build that. But you keep Rotor in the top flight and you can actually build. You can use this 45,000 stadium if you can fill it. Away you go. And that should be everything alright. So that's it. That's the 5 surprisingly big stadiums in Europe. So there's a lot of teams in there could do something with. The hardest one's probably the Russian one, to be honest with you. Russia's a very hard league to manage in. But all the rest of them there should be fine. As I say, I'm doing Bori myself on Twitch. The team Bori, I'm not. Jesus Christ, the streams on Twitch for the friggin' paddling pools and the friggin' hot tubs and all is bad. We're not going to promote not there. What might suggest that not there. Well, much less nobody wants to see me doing it. But you know, I'll leave you there. It's Salaskra Club would probably be my pick out of these ones actually. They're in the Polish top flight and should be fairly well going. So if I give you an idea, like the video, comment, subscribe. There will be another video in this, which will be 5 teams who aren't in Europe, who have similar circumstances. So thanks for watching. Goodbye, good luck, and I wish you well.